Good morning. My name is Amy Gill, your pharmacist that cares. I want to talk about a very important topic that I think a lot of us just sometimes take for granted. And this is the dangers of sugar. Now, we all know too much sugar can be bad, but do we actually know where the sugar is coming from in our daily lives and what we're feeding ourselves and what we are feeding our children? So I just want to talk a little bit about those things today and just give you some examples that I think will blow your mind, because it actually blew my mind as well once I started doing a little research into this. So first thing I want to talk about is soda. And we know soda, whether regular or diet, is not good for us. If you think about the diet, you're like, oh, it doesn't have all those sugars, they're calories. True, but it has a lot of artificial stuff that's still not good for you and your body cannot process. But right now I'm going to talk about regular soda. So if we are talking about a 12-ounce can of cola, do you know it contains 39 grams of sugar? That's this much sugar. This is almost 10 teaspoons of sugar in one 12-ounce cola. Think about it. Yes, sometimes people are drinking a can, but sometimes they're drinking it right out of a fountain, right? They're at a restaurant and they're refilling the drink and they're refilling the drink. How many grams of sugar are they getting before they get up after they're drinking all that soda? And there are other sodas that are actually worse than that. Without mentioning names, we'll just call it a citrus soda. And that actually has 11 teaspoons. So it's even more than this. Okay, it's 11 teaspoons of sugar. That is crazy, you guys. Think what that is doing to your system. This is not good for anybody. I don't care what age you are. This is way too much sugar to be getting. And according to the American Heart Association, out of one can of soda, this is more than the entire daily recommended for an adult. Okay, for an adult. So our children are drinking this much. This is absolutely crazy. Now, let's switch to another drink that people gets so much press time, so many ads you see, and these are the sugary sports drinks, things like this, right? So in a 20-ounce bottle, just like this one is, this is 20 ounces. Okay, so in a 20-ounce bottle, there's anywhere from 34 to 36 grams of sugar per bottle. So that's almost like this. I could take a little bit out, toss it out, and this is how much sugar is in those sports drinks. And even in some of the waters, you will see exactly almost close to what is in those as well. So why do they do that? Why in the world why are those ads out there? Why are we trying to give those to our children? Well, do you know what these sports drinks were actually designed for? Not for the little kids playing sports, not even for the high school kids playing sports. These were designed for Olympic athletes and at the high performance level they are working out at. So why? Because they're going to be sweating vigorously for long periods of time. So they do need to rehydrate their body and they're going to need those calories to keep on going. So if that is the case, those do have a place there. Maybe even your pro athletes, depending, but definitely not a place for your normal child athlete or your high school athlete, or just because you're working out in the yard or because you're taking a quick run. That is not going to be good for your body. Even marathon runners, this can be too much sugar. I know people that have switched from these sugary sports drinks to better alternatives and have done better. They've actually improved their time because they don't have all these extra sugars and carbs that your body just can't process. It's just way too much for your body. So this one that I just had a second ago, do you know what the second ingredient is on that sugary sports drink? High fructose corn syrup. Seriously, we need to be reading labels about what we are doing, because what is that going to do? That's going to have negative effects on insulin levels. It's going to have a negative effect on the appetite response and also a high obesity risk just by drinking this. And people, they're not just drinking this, of course, they're ingesting other calories along with it. So this is a big problem. So what actually are electrolytes? Electrolytes are minerals that maintain your body's ionic balance. So these are needed for your nerve, your muscle, and your brain functioning. These are things like calcium, magnesium, chloride, phosphate, potassium, and sodium. So these electrolytes and carbohydrates help athletes, they help them refuel, and they help them hydrate. So the carbs provide the energy, and the electrolytes help the body's fluid balance. But like I said, you have to think about what level you're performing at as to what you should be doing. So if your exercise level is less than 60 to 90 minutes, you do not need these kind of things to maintain or improve your performance. And that's according to a study at the University of California at Berkeley. So they actually did a study with people who were working out at different levels between 60 and 90 minutes, and these things were not helpful, and they did not improve their performance at all. So what did they do? Empty calories, empty sugars, empty carbs that nobody truly needed. So the sugars in sports drinks have actually been shown to be a contributing factor to childhood obesity. And of course that makes sense. Why? Because of the increased calorie intake. Like I said, they're not just drinking that thing. They're also eating things as well, because after they've worked out, after they've had a game, what are they? They're hungry, right? They're hungry and thirsty. So if they hurry up and down one of these 20-ounce bottles, they're going to get a ton of sugar. This one, 35 grams is what I just had in my hand. 35 grams of sugar and 35 grams of carbs. This is crazy. So it's obviously increased calorie intake. And what else are we going to see? We're going to see tooth decay, right? Because there is so much extra sugar going into their system. What is that going to do to their teeth? Decay their teeth, right? Another thing that you're going to be worried about over time with this is the amount of sodium in these drinks. So what's the amount of sodium going to do? Over time, it's going to increase the risk of high blood pressure. Then what's going to happen? Then you're going to have to go to the doctor. Then you're going to have to come see me at the pharmacy. And nobody wants to do that, right? So these things, it's just on and on and on. And then I know we talked about artificial sweeteners a little bit at the beginning, about if you find these drinks that say zero or your diet sodas, these artificial sweeteners, this could be a whole nother episode. So we'll just leave that. I mean, I could go on. And so we will leave that for another episode about the artificial sweeteners. But the dyes, obviously this one was colored blue that I held up, right? So you're going to see your red 40, you're going to see your blue dye, you're going to see your yellow dye, and all these things, they are not good, especially for children. So they are derived from petroleum. Yes, seriously. And they may increase hyperactivity in children. And also some of them have been linked to cancer as well. So why are we doing this? Now, I kind of thought about this question. I would love to know the answer. So, at the end of a game, whether it's a football game, sometimes they do it even on a basketball court, but usually it's outside, right? So a football game after they win the World Series, whatever the case is, you see this big old jug and it's dumped on the coach, right? Do you really think that it is what it says in there? I don't know. That's a question I would love an answer to, because are these people actually, these pro athletes, filling themselves with these drinks? Just because the athletes are on TV and they're saying how great they are, do you really think they're using them? It's like the commercials you see for the skincare or the lotions. Do you think those people are actually using those things? Absolutely not, because trust me, they would not look like that if they were using those products on their skin or as a lotion. So it does make me wonder what they are doing. So these sports drinks are actually made by your big soft drink manufacturers. So, I wonder why there's so much sugar in them, right? So people can actually, they really get addicted to this sugar. So why are we giving our children this? Why are we doing this at such a young age and thinking it's the cool thing to do, right? Oh my gosh, we're going to get them this. This is great. This is going to refuel their body. It's not. This is not good. We are actually setting them down a bad path for nutrition. So we need to stop and think what we are doing and set a better example. Start bringing water. That's all that really needs, that those children really need for hydration. And as you get older, yes, of course, you're going to need a little bit of sugar, but not 35 grams, okay? Because that does help your body rehydrate, but not 35 grams of sugar in one of those bottles. So fresh fruits and vegetables, those are the best source of carbohydrates and electrolyte replacement for the children, just like water. So when you're, and adults, when we get our sugars, we need to get good sugars, right? You get sugars from fruits. So let's choose healthy, fresh options to get the daily sugar amount we need, not what we are going to drink. So if you would like some more information on, you're like, oh my gosh, Amy, I love my soda. Guys, I was a huge soda drinker as well. I mean, I'd have at least a can a day. That's what I did. And I knew it wasn't good, but I still did it because I felt like I needed it, right? I needed that boost of energy. And just like these sugary sports drinks, if this is something you're like, oh, I give these to my kids, they like them, I don't know what to do. if you would like alternatives to either of those options, you're like, hey, I need to get off my soda. Hey, I need something that's going to help me hydrate with a little bit of sugar. Please reach out to me. I have got samples ready to roll that I can actually mail to you. And I can give you a little more explanation as to why these are much better for your body and how they can break them down and how they can still provide that energy. And you are still going to do well performing your exercise or sports activities. So let's stop and think. Let's flip those bottles over. Let's look exactly what we are putting in our body along with what we are eating, but let's not fill our bodies with all those unnecessary sugars and carbs and set us up for coming to the pharmacy and seeing me later and getting a big bag of prescriptions. So please reach out to me. I would love to give a little more information and you guys to try some other alternatives and to see exactly what is best for you and your children. My name is Amy Gill, your pharmacist that cares.